Good morning, welcome to Erasmus TV. What has been on the minds of, well, most employees and all students the last few months? That's of course online education. It's our last episode of the season, so it's time to look back and reflect. How are students really feeling about online education? We asked them in an online survey. And here to discuss the results with me are Hans van den Berg, he's the chair of the University Council. And on the other side we have Denisa Kassa, she's a student from IBA.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's go to the results straight away. More than 80% of all students believe that education has become worse during the corona crisis. Hans, are you surprised?
I would say I'm a bit surprised. I'm not surprised that they might be disappointed in the way education turned out online and that there have been struggles, but I am surprised because lecturers, professors, tutors like myself have been slaving and working day and night to make it possible over the weekend after that first start of the corona crisis to make online education possible. And I think it's an important point to realize what kind of work has gone into that. And we might be able to improve, and there's possibly a lot to improve. And I would really call upon these students who identified this as a problem to work together with their lecturers to improve online education for next year. You can do that formally through program committees and faculty council, but also maybe approach your professors, your lecturers on your own and discuss what you would like to see improved.
Yes, Denisa, you're an international student.
Yeah.
You stayed here in Rotterdam, and before we started the broadcast, you already told about that you had a hard few months. So how are you feeling about these results?
That is true, but it's also important to actually realize what the professors have been doing, as you said, because everyone is dealing with uncertainty, and the students are not the only ones who are having a hard time. Everyone is. But if you say that we are a very good university, you also have to offer very good quality education throughout the year, not only for the period that is offline, but also when it is online. So what is missing, for example, is when we have exams, there are a lot of technical difficulties. I did have an exam last week, and in the beginning, I couldn't access it. When I accessed it, after 30 minutes, I got the Dutch version of the exam, which I'm not Dutch and I really don't speak the language. So I started the exam 1 hour after it started. So this is also something that students shouldn't be dealing with because it adds a lot to the stress of the exams. But yeah, overall, I would say you do see the difference between online and offline education in terms of quality.
Yeah, so you miss it, the offline education.
Yeah.
Yes. Somebody who will probably also miss it are two students who are joining us on Skype, Ilse and Ellen. Ellen, you're a medical student, and medical students are even, well, more critical on online education, we see in the survey. Can you tell me why?
Well, I think especially with the lessons in small groups in medicine, it's really important to actually do something. So we had dissection room, which was cancelled. And I think it's really important for the learning as a medical student to know where every organ is and to really understand where in the body an organ is. It's way better to actually feel where it is than to learn like it's 3 centimeters in or something like that. So I think especially with the practical lessons, which is different, I think, with other studies, the medical students feel like they can learn the anatomy and stuff like that in the same way as they could before coronavirus as they did in real life lessons.
Yeah, and I fully agree. I would also prefer my doctor to know exactly where my organs are. But you also told that so you can't get all 60 points you can get in your first year. So you can't get your, as we call it in Dutch, propedeuse this year.
Yeah, indeed. We have lessons in acute medicine. I don't know what the real translation is, maar EHBO. These lessons couldn't go through and the exam was cancelled because you have to do it in real life with a person who acts out how they are diseased or something like that. So we couldn't do that because we had to together with 2 students to practice and stuff like that.
Ilse, you're a part-time student, so you're also working. So you know how much pressure is also on people who are working, but you're also studying besides. You're doing a law degree. How are you doing these couple of months?
Well, as the corona crisis started, the workload was very high. I made, I think, 3 weeks from 7 in the morning to 11 in the evening, so I missed that sixth block. So that was, I was not able to study at that time. And now with the last block started, it's, I think maybe the workload is only doubled. But with all the exams and the essays we have to write, it's really hard. It's really hard.
So, do you think that, well, you including, students are perhaps being also too harsh because you know how high the workload is and the work pressure is?
Yes, but I don't think students are too harsh, because you have to be critical, because it's some level of education you want to reach, also online. So I think we have to be critical and do these reviews, and also also talk about with our lecturers and other students, so how we can improve this digital way of education.
Yeah. So Hans, if coming back to you, what are your main concerns for next year? Is it workload for, well, teachers like yourself, or is it perhaps the quality of education?
I think it will be both, because they tie in together. As some of the students already here mentioned, you should be critical. You should be critical of the way education is done, and not only when it's online, it should also be when it's offline. We try to improve. We live up to some of the highest standards in the world with our education format, and we should be improving constantly. But essentially, as what was already said, working together with your lecturers, with your professors to improve this, and also for online education. And of course, we are, as a University Council, concerned about the work pressure. What I really like in the University Council is that the students and the employees work together on this issue. They both understand their positions. Students want the quality, but they also understand that that increases the workload for the employees. And they stand up together with the employees saying, you can't ask them to work the complete holiday to provide that. You have to bring in more help. While employees are standing up together with the students saying, we still want to offer that same quality of education to our students, but we can't do it this way because it's too much for us. Help us.
Yeah, we asked, well, also the students what's their main concern. Perhaps we can take a look at that, because then you will see that, indeed, the quality of education is the main concern, but also the economic crisis is something that's quite bothering everybody. Denisa, can you relate, or would you perhaps even like to add more concerns as an international student?
Yeah, for sure, because thing is, as an international student, before coming here, we do have in mind and we acknowledge that we do have certain disadvantages when it comes to how we are, to the culture that we're entering. For example, I have to pay 10,000 euros tuition fee. It will be more difficult for me to find a job because I don't speak the language. And these are all things that we consider before coming to the university. And now with the crisis, you do have those issues as well, because we get our monetary provisions from our parents. And for example, my parents, their business is closed, and it's not like the university really cares that much about it as long as I pay the sum again next year. So I would say that it's also not ideal situation from that perspective as well. And what is missing from the university is that part of empathy. Because you do see other universities in America, for example, the Washington University started offering laptops to their students or Wi-Fi connection to their students who didn't have that. And we didn't really have that from our university. And also a lot of people, except for from the monetary side, they also need mental help. the university did offer some more psychologists,
And
I think.
also offer some Wi-Fi connection help for people who could really need it, could ask it. But indeed also psychological help.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the thing is, for example, a lot of students study in the library, and that is, like in the beginning, it was almost impossible, even when the places were made available to people, because very few places were made available.
Yes.
And a lot of students live in student houses with more than 7 people, and it's kind of difficult to have a proper Wi-Fi connection throughout. And even like when you have an exam, you're still having the stress, oh, will my Wi-Fi work or will it not work? And yeah, there are a lot of elements to consider also from the student side and the students' concerns that are not being really taken into consideration.
Yes, Ilse, you're in a different situation. You are not living in a student house anymore. But can you relate all these problems?
Yes, I can relate to that because I'm not able to study at home because my boyfriend, he's also working from home. He has to make a lot of calls every day. So when you have to take an exam and somebody is talking on the phone in the other room, yeah, maybe you're not able to pass the exam. So I go to the office. I have to make a reservation for a room. And test all the Wi-Fi and technical issues in there. But yeah, I think it's for everybody. It's we have to be creative.
Yes. And Ellen, back there at your parents' place in Utrecht, if you look back at the last few months, what will you probably remember most?
You mean before Corona or after?
Well, perhaps after, during the Corona crisis, when it all hit.
Well, I remember I was like the first weeks I thought like, oh, it's vacation, but then it wasn't. So after everything picked back up again, it was really busy, and I haven't been out in 2 months or something because of all the exams that were fitted into the last 2 months of studying.
So it started off easy, and then it all really hit you.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably will stay with me most is, of course, this Erasmus TV, but kind of started as an adventure where we came up with in the weekend when it all closed down. And we made a short video to look back on several, highlights, several moments of Erasmus TV. Take a look with me. Good morning and welcome back to Erasmus TV. Traditionally, thousands of students start their time as a student at the Eureka Week, but this year it will probably be all very different.
Opening up a building is not as simple as just opening the front door.
So yes, it's a very, very difficult time for young people.
Die baravonden, gewoon lekker chillen met z'n allen, dat heb ik denk ik wel het meest gemist.
They have expressions like, oh my gee, this is difficult.
A lot of students needed a better internet connection for their exams. We need to help them.
Is the university doing enough at the moment?
We're the Erasmus University of Rotterdam, and I don't see Rotterdam on this campus.
At the university we talk about positive societal impact, but why haven't we seen this on street?
Basically, I live at my parents' place right now.
Marco, the kitchen is a mess. You should have cleaned the dishes.
And this was supposed to be an important and big year for Erasmus Pride.
I actually have good news because this week officially we've become an official an association by law.
Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to visit our website at erasmusmagazine.nl.
Yes, of course, missing from this highlight are the 2 sidekicks I started off with. The chair of the executive board and Rutger Engels, our rector. We asked them, of course, for a short response on the survey and all the results. I haven't heard yet, but I'm still very hopeful that we will get a response so we can post it on erasmusmagazine.nl. Just before we close off, Hans, I have to ask you, of course, we didn't get this response. Are you going to demand better online education? Are you going to make them respond?
I think that this is a problem that neither the university nor the professors, lecturers, nor the students wanted. We wanted to do physical education. and we had to go online, and we made that happen. I think that's an accomplishment. But I think that if we really want to make a change here, we have instead to go to the university, demand money back or demand a change there, work together within the university and not address the university to cope with this problem, but actually go to the government. Because it's the ministry who can actually make a change. The minister can make funds available to get this change about, to get the extra staff in, to get universities to actually be able to cope with this problem. And next year there are elections, and I would really call upon the students that if you think that your education currently isn't good enough, make the government responsible. March together with the professors, with the university as a whole to The Hague and state that you want a difference, that you want more money, that you need more money, that you need them to change their policies. And if they don't, that you're going to elect somebody else to take that post of the minister next year. Because it is within their power to change that. And we shouldn't be looking at the university, but should be looking at the government to make the change. That's what I personally think.
Well, I think recommending everybody to vote is always a good way to end an episode. I really want to thank you all for being here. Ilse, Ellen on Skype, thank you so much. Hans, Denisa, thank you very much. And thank you, of course, all for watching all 41 episodes of Erasmus TV. I hope to see you sometime back on campus. Thank you.